But from day one, I drew up an equity agreement whereby we stipulated who owned what, who was contributing to what proportions things were to be split in the event of us breaking up. That was handy. So that was something that I replicated in my subsequent relationship. So when we sold that house and paid the mortgage off, the percentage split in profits from my equity agreement meant that I had a decent lump sum to put into buying my own house.
So let me get this straight. You left your man, you took the money from the house that you two had gotten together, and then you used that equity to get a mortgage for another house. You know, guys, this woman is going off about how, oh, I bought the house by myself, I didn't need no man, and yet we used the equity from the previous relationship. Guys, this is so funny. I see it all the time. Women want to be acknowledged for being strong and independent, and yet they use the resources from the previous relationship they had with that man in order to fund their lifestyles. But what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, we are going to be kicking it off with a clip from this woman who was a little bit pissed off because people don't view her as strong and independent. Now, she had a really long-term relationship, which effectively counts as marriage in the eyes of the law in a lot of Western countries. It's called common law marriage. So she had a relationship like this. She then decided to leave it, I'm going to assume, but she wants to be seen as strong and independent. So let's jump into it, guys. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, and we'll cover a few clips as well today if I have time. Let's jump in.
It pisses me off. The comments I get from people whenever I show any part of my house, which is usually accidental or ancillary to what I'm doing, I get comments usually from women saying things like, yeah, well, she can only afford that because she got the money in the divorce. Particularly when I posted that I was the first woman in my whole family's lineage to have bought a house on her own without a man.
Wait, so let me get this straight. You're out here saying that you're not flexing your house, but at the same time you're making videos saying that you're the first woman in your bloodline to get a house without assistance from a man. So which is it? Oh, you know, guys, I just accidentally showed my house a few times, ancillary to what I'm doing. But, you know, people kept leaving comments about how I only have this house because of divorce. And then she goes on to say, well, actually, I was making a video about owning this house without the assistance from a man. So which is it? Are we, you know, just walking around the house doing TikToks, which I don't know why a woman is this age doing TikToks. I cannot understand it. Or are we sitting there making videos about how you can afford things without a man? Yeah, like within 2 seconds of this video, we are already contradicting ourselves.
Yeah, well, she can only afford that because she got the money in the divorce. Particularly when I posted that I was the first woman in my whole family's lineage to have bought a house on her own without a man. Loads of women jumped in and said, yeah, well, it's only because she got the money in the divorce. It's her husband's, really. A few things. I wasn't actually married, but we were as good as mortgage, kids, all the rest of it.
So this doesn't actually matter. The man can still be screwed over. Women can still steal from the man. Modern women do not need to be in a marriage in order to take from a man. Guys, a lot of places in Western day society, this is called common law marriage. I might actually just put in the title that this woman is married or was married, because it's as good as being married insofar as you are able to steal from the man. So a lot of Western society, guys, has this thing where if you are seen to be cohabitating for a long period of time or something like this, or you're in just a really long-term relationship, people recognize it as a long-term relationship, the government will consider you for all intents and purposes to be married insofar as the splitting of your resources, i.e. the robbery of the man. So this woman's like, yeah, but I wasn't even married. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you can't steal from the guy. Okay, like let's get it real clear here.
A few things. I wasn't actually married, but we were as good as mortgage, kids, all the rest of it. But secondly, I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for the last 25 years. I'm really careful with my money. I bought my first flat when I was about 25, admittedly with my then boyfriend.
So this woman is trying to say, listen, I'm strong and independent. I've been a lawyer for 25 years. And hey, maybe she is, you know, maybe she is strong and independent. But I am getting fishy, you know, this video is fishy, guys. Because again, what did we do? Well, the first thing we bought was with a boyfriend. Interesting, interesting. So the first boyfriend we had, we bought a flat with him. And then we also bought properties with future boyfriends. it seems. Very interesting, right? And guys, like, videos like this don't even need to be made. Oh, I'm so strong and independent as a woman. I didn't need no man. Such a weird thing to be jumping on the internet talking about, by the way. When do you ever see dudes get on the internet and they're like, yeah, you know what? I'm strong and independent. I didn't need no woman to pay for this. Like, obviously, men don't even get anything paid for them by women on a long-term basis. It's stupid. People who are strong and independent don't make videos on the internet talking about how they are strong and independent. Okay, oh, but I'm responding to criticism. Yeah, that might be valid, except you made a video first that said I didn't need no man and I bought a house without any assistance from a man. And yet we used previous house equity that we owned with a dude.
But from day one, I drew up an equity agreement whereby we stipulated who owned what, who was contributing to what proportions things were to be split in the event of us breaking up.
Guys, never let a woman make the equity agreement, by the way. The woman, I'll keep playing it in a second, but she doesn't actually go on to say how this equity, it could have been written up very unfairly for all we know. You know, it could have been written up in such a way that she contributed screw all, but she still got 50% of the equity in the house. You see what I'm saying? She doesn't actually mention the distribution here.
From day one, I drew up an equity agreement whereby we stipulated who owned what, who was contributing to what proportions things were to be split in the event of us breaking up. That was handy. So that was something that I replicated in my subsequent relationship. So when we sold that house and paid the mortgage off, the percentage split in profits from my equity agreement meant that I had a decent lump sum to put into buying my own house.
Right, so we owned a house with a man. We left the man. We got money from the house, which we may or may not have contributed. And guys, I'm always leaning less towards, you know, in a lot of these situations, you might say, okay, well, this woman's a lawyer, right? Or surely she's putting up 50-50. A lot of women do not like to do 50-50, and a lot of them don't really have long-term relationships without the dude earning more than them. This is something that is commonly known at this point, guys. When women are out here seeking relationships and marriage, oftentimes, particularly the long-term relationships, they are not going after dudes who earn less money than them. It's rare, right? Yes, there are some women who do this, but honestly, it's really, really quite rare. If she's a lawyer making, I don't know, a bucket load of money, chances are she was with a dude who was making 2 buckets amounts of money. You see what I'm saying? And this is why dating gets so hard for these apparently strong and independent women, is because let's just say you've got a woman making 120K a year. She doesn't want a dude unless he's making like 150K. You see? And so now they're competing for dudes who are making $150,000 a year. But the too long didn't read part of this, guys, is she left the marriage, right? I'm just going to call it a marriage because legally speaking, that's what it's actually functioning as. She leaves the marriage. She takes the equity from the house. They have to sell it, obviously. And then she takes that equity and then gets a mortgage of her own. I mean, again, we're still using, like, I would personally believe, guys, that this is nonsense and the dude contributed more. Like, I don't think, why on earth would dudes go out here and purchase houses with women these days? I have no idea. This is just an absolute minefield, man. And you can't get on here and say, I'm strong and independent because I got a house by myself. Well, it's like, did you really? You know, did you really? And first of all, do you have to say it? Second of all, did you actually? Right? You didn't put down the money that you've been saving. You put down the equity from the previous house.
And yes, I've got a mortgage on this property on my own. The whole financial burden of this house falls squarely on my shoulders. Me alone, through my salary, my income, not anybody else's. So can we just normalise allowing women to have nice things?
Nobody is saying that women can't have nice things. Whenever women say, let's normalize something, usually whatever follows is just completely stupid. People are not against women having nice things. They are against women stealing from men and claiming it as their own. That's really what they're against. You know, you can go out there, you can have, hey guys, I am not mad. If a woman wants to go out here, she's been a lawyer for 25 years, she's made an absolute bag, and she goes out there and buys a mansion. Cool, whatever. She can do whatever the hell she wants with her money. I personally think it's cool if she wants to do that. You know, good on her. I've never been hating someone for being successful. Go out there, be successful, cool. But if you're getting on here saying, well, I didn't need no man, but then you're using the equity from your previous house that you bought with a man to put down as the mortgage payment for your subsequent house, you can't really claim this anymore. You see what I'm saying? And also, yeah, obviously the financial burden is going to fall on you because, you know, you've obviously put up a deposit, so you have to continue paying off the mortgage. Yes, this falls on you. What do you want, a medal? You know, this still doesn't mean that you got the house without the help of a man. You see what I'm saying? And also, by the way, property houses appreciate. So technically speaking, she probably would have got a lot more equity as a result of inflation as well. And so what I'm trying to say here is, if she didn't have somebody else contributing to the house, the initial house, her equity probably would have been significantly less as well. You see what I'm saying?
So can we just normalise allowing women to have nice things? The days of us being somebody else's chattel are, thankfully, in the Western world, long gone, in the most part. So maybe
I mean, see, women have to turn it into this thing of like, we're so oppressed, you know, we couldn't work jobs. Nobody these days is trying to prevent you from working a job or opening a bank account or anything like this. You know, women have been working and having their own bank accounts, I think, since like what, the early 19th century. Long ass time ago, but we're still like, yeah, can we just normalize women having nice things? You know, I've gone through this oppression, and despite the fact that this woman is older, you know, this is modern day society, madam. Nobody cares if women have nice things, right? They'll judge you for how you got them, for sure, but you can't, you know, nobody's going to judge you for having nice things.
somebody else's chattel are, thankfully, in the Western world, long gone, in the most part. So maybe try not to make assumptions. I know it's difficult on social media because you only see a tiny snapshot of what somebody wants to show you of their lives. But I think this is important. If women are going to be empowered, we have to be able to see women that are succeeding financially on their own.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, right? Is nobody has a problem with women succeeding financially on their own. What people have a problem with is a lot of them are not financially succeeding on their own, and they're trying to claim like they are. You know, I don't need no man, as she takes alimony and child support, right? I don't need no man, as she goes out here and robs her ex-husband, right? And uses the equity of her previous house. People don't care about this, right? It's just how you got that money, right? And a lot of people aren't going to respect you depending on how you got it. Like, let's be honest, guys, a lot of the richest women in the world, as far as I understand it, got pretty much all of their money through divorcing dudes who were wealthier than them. You know, so when women have a lot of money, yes, people are going to be like, you know, did you earn that? Because oftentimes women are not as, you know, guys will oftentimes dedicate themselves pretty much wholeheartedly to something for like 60 years and become obsessed with it and make absolutely high amounts of money. Women oftentimes don't do this as much. There are some women who do this, but usually it's dudes who are crazy enough to hyper focus on something for decades at a time, right? You want to talk about real serious financial achievements. A lot of women are not interested in doing this long term, especially if they stop to have a thing, you know, things like family and stuff. You'll notice as women go into their 30s, guys, their priorities change. They go from, oh, I want to be strong and independent to, hey, wait a minute, I want a man to look after me. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of women, they're not the hyper financially successful ones. So yeah, people are going to be like, well, how'd you get that? And if you say you got it from a marriage, people are going to be not respect you as much. The same way that women oftentimes are making a lot of money through selling spicy content on the internet. Yeah, you have nice things, but people are still going to judge you for how you got that money.
Allowing women to have nice things. The days of us being somebody else's chattel are, thankfully, in the Western world, long gone, in the most part. So maybe try not to make assumptions. I know it's difficult on social media because you only see a tiny snapshot of what somebody wants to show you of their lives. But I think this is important. If women are going to be empowered, we have to be able to see women that are succeeding financially on their own. We are perfectly capable of doing that. The days of not worrying our pretty little heads about finance and those kinds of things, again, they're gone. So that ingrained misogyny that a lot of us seem to carry of, well, she couldn't possibly have got that through her own hard work.
No, women can get things through their own hard work, but they're going to be skeptical when you jump on TikTok and you say, hey, I got this house without a man. And also, it's not mahogany, right? I see this all the time. Women will jump on the internet and they'll be like, well, someone's disagreeing with me, and the reason why they're disagreeing with me is because I'm a woman. No, it's not because they dislike women. It's not because they're sexist towards women. This is not where this comes from. People are just disagreeing with you because they are skeptical. You see what I'm saying? But of course, they don't understand this, right? We have to blame it. If somebody disagrees with this woman, right, or says, hey, this is a little bit fishy, I don't really believe what you have going on here, then apparently that means that we don't like women. You know, if dudes were out here and if men had the power to do this, I would still be pretty skeptical, man. You know, dudes out here, like, let's just say dudes could as easily rob women of very, very valuable assets and resources. Yeah, there would probably be a little bit more skepticism towards men, right? But they can't. So usually when skepticism is leveraged towards men, it's like, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, does this man deal substances? You know what I'm saying? And hey, if a dude looks really fishy, it looks like he's selling things perhaps he shouldn't be, he's got some possessions he shouldn't be, that's not because we dislike men. You know what I'm saying? It's just because people are skeptical of what you're putting forward.
That's really harmful. It is one of my life's defining achievements that I have been able to afford something that means so much to me all on my own. It is genuinely liberating. I reckon that's something that should be celebrated. It's just another step along for women finding freedom and choice. It wasn't so long ago that women weren't allowed to have a bank account, let alone...
So, first of all, this was quite a while ago. Second of all, she said 2 seconds ago that this was quite a while ago. So which is it? Were women oppressed recently or were they oppressed ages ago? I'm confused. We seem to be flip-flopping between quite a few different ideas here, guys. Because on the one hand, she says, well, you know, women being the property of men and all of this stuff, that was ages ago, thankfully, in the Western world. And now she's going on and she's saying, well, it was basically recently that we only had our independence. Which is it, madam? I'm confused.
Finding freedom and choice. It wasn't so long ago that women weren't allowed to have a bank account, let alone a mortgage on their own. So come on, let's celebrate these things, huh? Lifting each other up is so much more fulfilling than trying to do each other down. Doing somebody else down ain't going to improve your position. If I manage to get a bit of pie, it doesn't mean that there's less for you. Although technically, I suppose I have bought this house, so I've taken it off the market from a man that might have wanted to buy it. Yeah, not a great analogy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, guys, you know what she means, right? You know what she means? So here's the thing, guys. I'm very skeptical about this whole situation. You know, she got equity from the previous house. I don't know. Did she contribute equally to that equity? Part of, you know, I'm skeptical. I'm really, really, really skeptical. I would say probably not. A lot of women are not getting into relationships where the man is not providing at least 50% financially. Like typically, guys, for a woman to consider dudes, they have to be earning more and be willing to be paying there for women, essentially. But guys, make sure to leave your thoughts and your comments down below. As always, make sure you take care of yourselves out there. Don't get married, is my suggestion. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.